Once again, it's my pleasure to welcome Stefan Kienzl, boss of Outlaws, who actually has a real Outlaw who match him really, really well as his team is joined now by both, not only Nathan Diasha, but as well other Outlaw, Martin Fitzwater. So it's growing, it's growing, it's growing. And how have you been, Stefan? Nice to meet you again.
It was a very exciting year, those 2023. A lot of the things I've done for those last year just clicked. I was very happy with the results. I was very happy with my athletes. So actually, I really have nothing to mourn about last year because it really blasted my suspicions what I could reach success-wise in 1 year. It was just a dream. I had 11 qualified athletes at the Olympia, 14 pro victories last year.
I hate you, by the way. Your guy beat me in Alicante.
Yes.
I hate you for that.
I didn't expect that actually.
Yeah, it was so close. We stood on the backstage and we were like,
Yeah.
I think it's between one of us, and he's like, congratulations. I'm saying to him, congratulations. We were like, not sure, but it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, I even stopped counting pro cards because last year was just so intense. In the beginning of the year, it was just rolling a little bit, but in summer everything made up speed, and so I was very happy. But 2024 will be for sure as same as exciting as 23 has been, because season kickstarts with really kickstart. There are a few pro qualifiers before. For example, in February there is something in Iraq, but the real season starts with the Arnolds in Ohio. And I have 6 invited athletes, which absolutely overwhelmed me. If you take a look, there are 11 classic physique guys, and 4 are coached by me.
By the way, I'm quite sad that Martin didn't get an invite.
Yes, and actually
It was weird.
I didn't really understand how they put open together. Not
Yeah.
really, you know. Martin is for sure one of the future guys. He's young, he is charismatic. Yeah, as you said before, he's a little bit different than some other people. So outlaw is quite good to describe him. But he is definitely one of the future stars in the sport. And it seems that they wanted to see more of the older guys which are close to retirement. So no disrespect to John De La Rosa or Akim Williams, but those are the guys we have looked up a few years ago. It just looks like they wanted to see more of the old guys for sure. With Nexilla, they have one of the rising stars now also, which they gave the luck to have an appearance at the Arnolds. But as you said, I was a little bit disappointed that they didn't pick Martin, but for sure, like always, I respect the decision, and they will have their reasons for how they put together that Arnold Classic competitive field.
Yeah, as well, it is really like, I don't really know the reason. As you said, it's because they said that the rules are that you must have won one of the shows
No,
last 2 years.
no. It's Arnold is never you must win a show. Arnold
This
is
year it was like, if you there was in rules said that
no, it was always you must be top 3.
no, but this time it was a rule that one of the points, it was like you have to win the show to be even able to, to be qualified. And there are people who haven't even placed in the, top 2, so to speak. But there are as well exciting names, more exciting. And Martin took at the time off, maybe that's why. But it's hard to, just We can only speculate.
But for example, has Akim done a show last year?
Exactly. That's why I'm like, why is Akim, for example, invited? Jonathan, I can get it because he was in the top 2.
Top 2, yes.
Yes, Rubiel was top 3. Yeah.
Yes, he was third in Prague.
And Jose was as well top 3 in
He was third in Romania, yes.
Romania. Yes. So I don't know. I have no clue. And we can only speculate, and speculations bring us nothing but problems, to be honest. So let's just respect the decision and
Yes,
move on.
absolutely, absolutely.
Let's speak about what makes you a coach that you are, because as you said, you had loads of success. Do you think it's about the training, diet, the psychological aspect that you can speak to an athlete, especially when, because you work with loads of the pros, as you said, you have 11 Olympians, so they know what to do. They know how to train. They know how to eat. So there must be something else there.
I think a lot of my process of becoming a better coach is starting to focus on the real important things to get the best out of an athlete. Yeah. That is not what I say now is maybe a little bit provocative, but if you're as coach still invest your time trying to plan super freaky training splits or to change trainings of the athletes all the time, you're probably wasting your time when it comes to get really impressive results of genetically gifted athletes, which all of those athletes are. A coach, in my perspective, is someone who makes decisions. A coach is a guy who says, is on specific times in a prep, now you have to eat less, you have to eat that less, you have to eat that more. Now it's time for recovery. Now it's time to step back. Now it's time to push. So doing the decisions is the most important thing as a coach to get the athletes to the place which is maximized possible. So as you said before, it's more the psychological way of leading people in the direction they can have success. Because Jose Mourinho said one time in a really good documentation about coaching, you don't have to teach Ronaldo how to play football.
Of course.
You have to lead him in the direction that he plays the best football he can play. And that's a little bit how I see my job. For sure, nutrition, supplementation, training plays a big role in that. But the difference is definitely not that I write better nutrition plans. The difference is definitely not that I write better training plans. The difference is perhaps that I make better decisions.
Sometimes it's about making the little tweaks, as you said.
Yes,
For example,
exactly.
Urs was training all the time, the same split, the high intensity. Now he changed. Now he worked with Martin actually and Brett on his plan. And you're like, okay, if it works, if you see that he progresses, it's okay. You can change some exercises. You can give a little advices on how to move, but you don't have to, reinvent the wheel. Same with Nathan.
No.
Nathan always trained his way. He always trains heavy as hell. But for example, when he does a pull down, you can direct him to move his elbows a little bit more forward. And that's all that he needs.
Exactly.
He doesn't need anything more. He just needs a little tip, not the whole program, as you said. And that's what makes the top coach, I think, because like let's say Hani Rambot, he has the top-notch clients. Do we think that Sibam doesn't know how to train, or Hadi or Derek, Phil Heath? They all know how to train. He just pushes them a little bit more.
Yeah, it's just slightly work in different directions. And I think that's one of them. As you said, it's when we take Urs as example, Martin for sure sent me the plan he wanted to write for Urs before. And then I said, okay, I want to exclude that 2 exercises because in the whole picture, that would be too much load on the lower back, which is actually his strongest point because his erectors are so thick, which for sure puts away the impression that his lats are also thick. So we need to change that a little. So in that whole exercise regime he was given, and let's say it was 40 or 50 exercises, I just said, okay, those 2 I don't want, but everything else is fine. As soon as you have good trainings, as soon as you have fun, and as soon as you progress, it's totally fine for me. I think decisions is the one thing I'm quite good of doing it because I'm a very rational guy. I'm not emotional when it comes to my work. And the second thing is that I have a quite good eye for symmetry and balance and how athletes look like. And most of the time, I find a way to bring that in the direction the judges want to see them.
You a little bit not lied, but misconstrued yourself because you are emotional as hell, but you show it only when it's needed. For example, when someone wins a show, you
Yes.
show a lot of emotion. When someone does a good job, you show a good emotion. But when someone fucks up, to be honest, let's be clear, you are as well harsh on him. So you are emotional and you are
Yeah, but not when it comes to do the
to make
decisions
the
in
decision.
work.
Exactly.
Yes.
The decisions are straightly based on what you see and what you can conclude and take forward within making more progress.
Exactly. That's the point. And I would say one factor is that why I might have quite good success is how, everything in life is about genetics. And
Of
for everything, you need genetics. And I think I just have good genetics for being a coach. I was born Asperger autist, so I have a little bit a
welcome to
different
the club.
view. I have a little bit a different view to, and I'm really fast of seeing what could be changed or what has to be changed. I'm really fast of seeing those little things in a body which has to be corrected that the judges like it. And one additional factor is I'm just a bodybuilding nerd. Even if there are no athletes on the stage, I will watch the live stream. I will go to the show. I talk to the judges. I try to understand what they want to see, even if it's sometimes quite hard to understand what they want to see, but still, at least I try to understand it. And I think that combination of those factors, doing the decisions, being not emotionally when doing decisions, being very, very sensitive to little changes and respecting what the judges want to see brings the success.
I knew that you had some kind of, Asperger's or something because of your OCD, because you are same as me. When someone messages you as a client, you are like, I have to answer now.
Yeah.
Because I have seen the messages not only from the pros, I have seen them as well from the upcoming pros and from the amateurs. It's not like, let's say, for example, you send a message, it's 11, and then you get an answer within 2 days. It's like 11, 11.2, Stefan answers. So it's been OCD and it helps a lot and takes loads of pressure from the athlete who most of the athletes need coaches mostly because at the end of the prep, we are emotionally unstable. That's the fact.
And doing emotionally decisions, and that's the biggest problem. You are doing when you start doing decisions out of fear, when you start doing decisions out of panic, when you're doing decisions out of depression, you won't have a good result, even if your knowledge is very, very good. And that's the same for athletes when they do their own decisions, but it's also the same for coaches. I know a bunch load of coaches who start to panic doing their decisions. I know really a lot of coaches who start to doing their decisions out of fear that something doesn't go the way they want to go. And as soon as emotions come in your decision process, you might be fucked up.
Is it harder to create a pro or improve a pro?
You know, you can't say that is harder or that is harder. It depends when you catch up a person in the stage of their possible development. You know, there are a lot of pros out there, or I've met a lot of pros where there was the possibility of tremendous improvement during short time, because on one hand, they have great genetics. On the other hand, they still had so much room of maximizing things. And on the other hand, you sometimes have really well-developed amateurs who have nearly optimized everything, where it is hard even to get pro, where it's then the same hard effect to get them to a pro than a non-genetically gifted person, because just the potential isn't there. So actually, as a coach, it's not for the progress, not for the absolute result. When you strive for the maximum progress, it always depends on when in their career you meet them, how much of the things they actually do right. And most people would wonder how many pros out there still have so much room to improve because of their genetically gifted potential. They went pro quite fast, but because they went pro that quite fast, they never thought about maximizing every aspect to get to, I would say, Olympia top 10, Olympia top 5, Olympia top 3, or even an Olympian title. I think a real good example, I would have loved to have the chance to work with him, but take a look at Phil Heath. He got pro super fast. Then he won his first show. I think, what was that? It was not California. How was the show called he won? Can you remember?
I think it was actually California.
Was it California? The first show he won, and he was standing there, and you saw that incredible potential he had. But he was a guy without a back.
Yes.
And then Haney come, or they worked together, I think, even before. I'm not sure about that. But the progress he made with his back, Colorado it was. I knew it was with C, so it was Colorado. But the progress he made then from a first pro show pro winner to the Mr. Olympia was just tremendously, because everything clicked. So even in those genetically gifted persons, there is always room for a high amount of improvement. That's why I can't give you an answer what is more difficult. These days, getting pro isn't that difficult, except you always have bad luck like you.
Four damn times. Four.
Of picking not the I would say the most optimum shows. But if you are consistent and you are a good bodybuilder, you will reach that limit. But to progress then in the pro league and to place constantly in the finals, that could be quite tricky, because actually that then comes down to your genetically potential.
As you said, getting a pro is one thing. And then I always like to mention the thing is that let's speak about bikini. We have 60 qualified girls to Olympia, 60 up to 80 even. So it means that 60 girls had to win a show. In each bikini show, we have from 30 to 40 girls. It's like 2,000 bikini pros competing every year, almost.
Exactly.
So the cream always rises to the top anyway, and you have so many athletes, so many pros, and yet only like the top 10 stays the same. It's almost always the same top 10. Same with bodybuilding. Top 10, maybe some guy sneaks in, maybe some guy sneaks out to the top 10. There is some genetic wonder like Samson, for example, who just rises to the top. But most of the time, it's the same top 10, same top guys always stay at the point. You coach not only men, you coach lots of women, you coach all of the categories, basically. What, and let's firstly start with, do you rather coach men or women, as we spoke about pros? What do you prefer? Or it doesn't matter for you because in the end...
Actually, I like what is one beautiful thing of bodybuilding. Even if in my heart, I was raised up with Ronnie Coleman, open class bodybuilding and mass and sheer being a monster and the most shredded motherfucker on the planet is what really warms my heart. But actually coaching, but that's more the Stefan as private person, but as a coach or in my work, I really like to coach every category, even bikini. It's a wonderful sport. Bikini is such a fine work. It's a work of so much detail because symmetry is absolute and balance is absolutely everything, and you can change the balance that much than in other categories because you can't just put on the muscle which would be needed for the balance because then the girl outgrow the category.
And you can put on the mask, which is as well important, your face.
Exactly. So actually, I really like coaching all the divisions, and I think that's also something which is quite unique for me as a coach. When we take out my 11 Olympia qualifications, I think it was man physique, classic physique, woman bodybuilding, bikini, wellness, open. It was 6 categories.
So the goal now is to get 8 at least.
Yeah, it was the year before I had figure. This year I had no figure. I'm still missing in 212, which is difficult. I don't have anyone I see qualifying for the Olympia in 212 in the near future. I have physique, which I need to have a qualification. Figure, wheelchair. I've never coached an athlete. Yeah, that was it.
Anyone who has joined the team of Stefan and hasn't been announced yet?
Yeah, there is one. It's I would say he is the most successful guys when it comes to track record I've ever worked with.
I know who is he. Bonak.
Yes.
He announced it actually.
Yeah, he tagged me on the picture.
Yeah, that's how I found out. I was like, I pressed the picture and I was like, wait. Didn't he work with Chad Nichols? And then Bossofoutlaw. I'm like, yeah, he had to switch.
Yeah.
How is it working with William?
It's super interesting. He had a long recovery, he's always in shape. When I said, okay, when I had to set up a time schedule, it was very funny because I needed to see the pictures, and then he sent the first pictures, and I was really surprised how good he is in shape when he doesn't take care. So that was quite funny. Now we have to bring back some muscle, and then get back to his comeback. He still has the fire burning. He lost a little bit the fire. That's why he had that break. A little bit the same as Nathan, who was lack of motivation. But both are burning and willing for success. And it's for sure one of the most exciting works I have had because, he is one of those bodybuilders I always looked up. I have seen him live on 2 of his 3 Arnold Classic wins, which is just an inspiration. And I want that his body still is able to show that brilliance he carried up on stage once again.
You always, I mean, not always, but often become a really good friend with your athletes. For example, Nathan, when he posts conversations with you, that you smile, laugh at him, that his face is all over the place, and so on. How do you do it? Because it's hard, you know.
You know,
How can you? Sorry to interrupt you, Stefan, but how can you, you know, separate being a coach and a guy who is tough and says it and makes a decision, and a friend who can as well be, you know, humble and help you when you need it?
I think that's like everywhere in life. When you meet people, there's a percentage of people you get friend very easy and very fast because you have the same interest, you have the same sense of humor. And for example, Nathan is one of those guys. We have the same sense of humor. We have the same interests. So you know, when you have a decent number of clients, there are for sure, I would say 10% of those who really get friends, you know, and there are a few of them who really get close friends. I think that's just a normal thing in life where being the coach of a person just gets more than that, and you're getting a friend.
And which point of, because you said about the diet and training and of course supplementation and gear, which part do you see is the one that most people are lacking when it comes to their progress?
Consistency.
Of course, but consistency in the off season or in the prep?
You know, and I don't mean the word consistency in getting lazy, or I don't mean the word consistency in not living the bodybuilding life. I mean the word consistency in always trying new things, always changing the schedule, always wanting something different. That will not lead you to success, you
Seeking
know?
grass that's greener on the other side of the room.
And that's really the thing a lot of athletes are lacking. They don't have the patience to let things just happen, you know? Or I would think the training, especially concerning that factor, the training plays a big role. Let's say you have the training split and that exercises. You know, 99% of bodybuilder, when they don't progress, they will start to change exercises instead of analyzing the exercises they do and just getting better in that. You know, when you are a ski driver and you are a slalom driver and you need to get better in slalom driving, you drive slalom. You don't go ski jumping or something else. You know, people often tend to change things instead of improving things. And that's a big factor. You must learn how you can to improve things, not to change it.
Yes, recording yourself, seeking if the execution is right, if your intensity, because that's what I see most of people, especially from the younger generations, are lacking nowadays. They're like, they're not pushing themselves hard enough. I see so many people training.
Exactly what you said. As a coach, you know, I have a lot of even lifestyle customers, you know, and when you get the feedback, I think the training volume is too low for me. I need more. Then, you know, the guy is so much far away from an intensity that he could progress because he's just doing the exercises like, you know, brushing the teeth, but not putting the heart into the exercises and maximizing every contraction and maximizing every range of motion and getting the best out of every single repetition, because then of the most time a very low, let's say it that way. I'm not the guy who says low volume is the best. I am not the guy who says high volume is the best or whatever. But you know why I love low volume? Because for me as a coach, if I get the feedback from low volume, I don't have a pump. When I get the feedback from low volume, it's too less volume for me because I don't feel exhausted. Then I have immediately the answer and the feedback. He is not doing it right. You know, when you give to your clients high volume programs, they still work the same than low volume. I would never say that system is better than that system, but then he will get the pump because he's doing so many repetitions. He will be exhausted because his nervous system will be exhausted, or his total body is exhausted. But actually, he's not exhausting the biceps that way. Then he would say after a low intensity program, oh, okay, I felt the pump from the first repetition. I felt the exhaustion of the muscle after the first exercise, and the second was just the add-on. Then I know he's doing it right. So I like the low volume work as a coach, is especially for beginners and advanced people, because then I get the right feedback and then I know where to put on and how to get them better, learning them intensity, learning them exercise execution, and all that factors. When you're doing a high volume system, that hides a lot of mistakes the people are doing because you don't get the right feedback.
We as coaches often get a message or a question that how to improve your weakest body part. And as you said, it's the not matter of the how often, but how do you do it? The
Exactly.
execution itself. How do you make a movement right? Not only moving the weight from the A to B. As we said, the weight is only a tool, but it's important tool. And loads of people as well run away from the weight itself, but it's not the thing that it's needed at the beginning. At the beginning, you need to learn how to move before you need to learn how to crawl before you move. But before you move,
that's also a funny aspect, or the people always say, bodybuilding is such a strange sport. It's not very professional, blah, blah, blah. And they are right. If you want to play tennis, you will invest a lot of money in your tennis coach, and you will stand on that fucking tennis court and playing 5 hours in a row that fucking forehand and learning that forehand until that forehand is perfect. Who goes into the fitness studio and learning 4 hours a lat pull down until every movement is absolutely right? Nobody, But that should actually be the way you should work. Pick out, I would say, 10 exercises. You don't need 40 and perfect them. And then you will gonna be the best bodybuilder you could be with your genetic.
do you think that there are some exercises that have to be done, like, for example, squat, deadlift?
No, totally not. Because, the first thing is, when we start bodybuilding, we not start from zero. We might have done another sport before. We might have injuries, handicaps, shortened muscle, not the perfect mobility. So when it comes to that, you have to find the right exercises for you, which suits you, your biomechanic capabilities, and also your mobility capabilities.
Do you often see and get a question that, of course, before even asking you on how to train better, how to diet better, should we increase carbs, lower the carbs, lower the protein, add the protein, even though it's set a schedule from the coach and you shouldn't really interrupt it. A lot of people ask about actually upping their gear before even learning to train.
I would say that that's 90% of the people which are just interested in that, and which just think that's the difference between a champion and not champion. But I also have to say that that changed a little bit the last 3 to 4 years, that the natural community is getting bigger and bigger. And they most of the time are asking the right questions, but they very often have the problem that they can't focus on 10 exercises. They must do 78 exercises because they need that angle, they read that study, they read that study. So they have a different problem. They are not focusing so much on the gear, but then they are focusing on some strange studies or circles or whatever. So actually, if I would bring it down, it comes to this to the same thing as I said before. Consistency is a little bit the problem, and not the wish to get better in the normal and easy things you do. It's always overcomplicating. It's always more. It's always something else, which actually keeps the people away from progressing. And the funny thing is, if I bring it down to, for example, the 14 Pro wins last year, I would say most of those people are asking the right questions.
Yeah,
you know,
for example, we had an era where there was a MENT and DHB, which were really popular, and everyone asked about them. And still, when I see the programs from almost every top coach, I see the basics: test, Deca, Bolt, Primo, GH. That's most what they use. Nothing more. No fancy
exactly.
things. Perhaps they add some peptides or something, but it's not a rocket science.
No, it is not. But bodybuilding is not rocket science. It is just not.
It is not even a science, to be honest. It's more of an experiment because no one is going to make studies on the bodybuilders.
Yeah, right, right.
Uh,
So I'm totally with you. Getting success is consistency, genetically potential, and doing the right decisions.
or
It's
just
not
or not doing,
knowing more about steroids or something like that.
or not taking too many decisions.
Exactly.
Because
It.
sometimes you just have to shut the fuck up. That's the truth.
Yeah.
Is there one thing, and if there is any, that you hate about bodybuilding as the last question? Or the fitness industry or whatsoever?
Yes. Um, as you said before, I'm an emotional guy. Besides doing non-emotional decisions, I hate it when I see that people who really work their ass off, but just don't have the genetically potential when they are sad because they don't get the place they wished for themselves because it's just not possible. And then they put down themselves and they don't see what they actually achieved. That's something which I really hate about that sport, but actually I would hate that about any sport because that plays a role in any sport. It's the fact that not everybody can get Mr. Olympia.
Yeah, and you don't have to. The fact is, you don't have to be the hardest worker to be a Mr. Olympia.
And that's the thing, because there are so many wonderful athletes out there who put in so much love, so much effort in that sport, and actually they have so many great results, and instead of being happy what they achieved, they are just being sad because they don't reach the place or the status they thought they could reach. That's something which makes me happy, not happy, and which makes me sad. And that's actually the thing I hate most about the professional sport, I would say.
Yeah, people need to realize that there are only so many CBAMs, so many Ors, so many Nathans, and so many Derek Lansfords. There are only few, and so many Michael Jordans, and we can't be mad on ourselves because we have given our all, and that's what's most important.
Exactly.
If you have been consistent, as you said, and you have worked your ass off, be proud of yourself. Stefan, do
Exactly.
you still take on clients, or are you full?
Yes, always. I love working with people, and as I said now in the last questions, I'm not only searching for Mr. Olympias. I search for people who I can help to reach their limit and their potential. So for me, I'm always open to work because I just love what I do.
How can one get in touch with you? Is the Instagram?
Just writing on Instagram, it's I would say the best way.
Yeah, the Instagram. So if anyone is interested in working with Stefan, just hook him up on the Instagram, and that's the best way. Stefan, thank you so much for taking your time and answering all of those questions. We hope they help to our viewers, because if you have worked, you can be proud of yourself. Have a good day, and leave a subscribe, like, and comment, all of those good things. And make sure that you follow Stefan and his athletes on the Instagram and other platforms. Thank you so much.
Bye.